5 steps to escape your 9 to 5 and work from anywhere. If you're watching this, you're probably just finishing school, maybe you're at uni, or you're in a 9 to 5 where you're just looking for something bigger. You might be thinking, surely there's another way than the traditional way of doing things. And I can tell you now that I was in the exact same position as you. Not even just 2 years ago when I made the leap and went to work remotely. 10 years ago, I decided to go to uni because it felt like the right next step when I was 18. I then graduated and was applying for an endless number of jobs that were just loosely related to my marketing degree. And then finally, I had the pleasure of being in a 9 to 5, experiencing the Sunday scaries, dreading my morning commute, and ultimately just feeling like I had no control of my Monday to Friday. The breaking point for me was I was consistently met with resistance in my 9 to 5 when asking for a pay rise or even a promotion. And this just meant that it was stunting my professional growth, but also my personal growth. At the time, I couldn't afford, even on the cheapest rent in Spare Room, you know, the app where you flat share. I genuinely wouldn't have been able to afford my life if I moved into a flat in Central. And it just felt like it was stunting my personal growth as well. So at this point, I really just knew that something had to change, and this is when I started looking into side hustles and how I could boost my income myself, because I knew that I couldn't rely on this business that I was working for. So everything I've just discussed is phase 1 of your journey to remote work. It's been the same for me, it's been the same for all of my girls. You become aware of a problem in your life, and phase 2 is actually understanding if you have the willingness to make a change. Not everyone does, and I think it's really important to ask yourself, how important is it for you to achieve your goals, whether they're professional, whether they're personal, and what will happen and where will you be in 6 months if you don't do anything to change it? And I think when someone asks me that, it has been the biggest motivation, because at any point when I've invested in a business mentor, when I first invested in learning appointment setting to remote work, I just thought, what's the worst that can happen? The best is this can completely change my life, and it does. So now I'm fully in phase 2. I'm willing, I'm eager to learn, and let me be honest, but I had spent years looking for a side hustle and was constantly roped in by the get-rich-quick schemes. I had looked into trading. At one point, I was even paying a subscription to learn how to resell shoes. Apparently, that was going to make me a millionaire, but I didn't see a penny. And I just thought, I need to take it seriously. I need to be honest with myself. I need to be honest with my network. So I started diving into people that I knew had successfully begun working remotely, working freelance, asking about their experiences, asking about their advice. And the only way that I can describe this feeling is when you start reaching out to people and asking about their experiences. For example, like when someone reaches out to me, I love it, because I just think you are making the best step in your position where you're thinking, okay, I'm going to make a change, what's out there? Otherwise, when you're Googling, you don't have that same fire in your belly, because you're just like, okay, what is the easiest way to make money online? And then it comes up with all of these things. You can't quite comprehend it. You get roped into these subscriptions where you're going to make millions, but ultimately you won't make anything. And I felt like having the experiences of all my friends just really helped me feel a lot more knowledgeable about what I was getting myself in for. And at this point, bear in mind, I was only looking for a side hustle. I was quite happy in my marketing job, or I thought I was, but I just wanted some more control over my financial stability. And really, I just wanted to boost my pay so that I could move into a flat in London. I had no idea what was in store when it came to working remotely. All I knew was that I had the willingness to learn, and I had been set on going freelance, to be honest. So I was really going to my friends that had started their own social media marketing agencies, seeing if this is something that could work with me, because my background is as a marketing executive. And I really just found that the market for these small boutique agencies is quite oversaturated, and getting a client's difficult, but client retention is also quite difficult, because obviously you can do a project and then they might decide to take it in-house. So the stability wasn't there, what I was looking for. especially alongside my 9 to 5, because it can be quite up and down. At this point, I was introduced to appointment setting, and it seemed like it was checking a lot of boxes for me, where there's the option of base pay, there's the option of commission, and I thought, do you know what? I'm a hard worker. I am not too salesy, and I literally could not wrap my head around appointment setting for the life of me. So I was intrigued by everything that I was hearing and the success stories of others, but I was like, how am I going to be able to implement this in my daily routine and my own life? And let's be honest, because I couldn't wrap my head around it, I was Googling endlessly, and I was thinking, okay, this either sounds like I'm going to be hard selling for my clients on the behalf of their business, or I'm going to be a glorified VA. And I was like, I don't think I want to do that either. So neither related to my background in marketing, and quite frankly, it sounded like the money and the freedom was too good to be true, and the flexibility, but was it going to be the perfect fit for me? I had no idea. At this point, I firmly understood that Googling would only get me so far when it came to understanding appointment setting. Was I going to be hard selling on the behalf of client businesses, or was I going to be a glorified PA? I genuinely had no idea, and I was thinking, how on earth will this fit alongside my 9 to 5? Okay, so at this point, I'm moving on to phase 3. I'm not only willing to make a change, but I'm also looking to chat to people that are successful at what I want to do, which is appointment setting. So it's that willingness to invest in yourself, to learn from others, and put yourself out there even further than just asking your network. Fortunately, my friend introduced me to a trusted agency where she knew of people that had worked through them before. And after one call, I was sold. It just seemed like it was going to give me the stability, the flexibility, and also that earning potential that I was after. And the best part was I could start it alongside my 9 to 5, which for me at the time, only looking for a side hustle, sounded pretty perfect. On the call, I'd been offered to join their community, and this ticked every box. It had the clear training that would last a lifetime, remote work potential, and a fast path to client offers. Because I'd already gone through phase 1 and phase 2, I was so beyond eager at phase 3 to get started. I finished the call, I'd signed up for the community, and I was going through the course that night, and it honestly didn't take me that long to get through every unit of this course. I was asking questions, joining the community calls, and it wasn't long before I was paired on an offer. This is actually phase 4, getting on an offer. It's not just about finding a client, it's about finding the perfect offer where you can also excel. Getting on an offer is all about networking, confidence, and plugging yourself into the right community. This is exactly what I did, and I feel like that really gave me the confidence to go ahead with these opportunities and sell myself, even though I obviously had limited experience at this time. The academy that I had joined also had another leg of the business where they mentored online fitness coaches or online business mentors on Instagram, which meant that I was introduced quite quickly to a client, and it sounds perfect on paper. This has actually helped me shape my academy today, and I'm so grateful for the experience because I had been introduced to this client through the agency I'd invested in training with, my first client. Then I noticed that I felt micromanaged, not only by the client but also by the agency I'd invested in training from. And I thought, I've just done all of this training, I'm working so hard, I'm getting results. It just didn't feel like it was necessary for me to be communicating what I was doing with a client and then also a manager, and it wasn't why I had invested in appointment setting and wanted to work remotely. A priority of mine is to give girls confidence to go out, onboard clients, and manage their own client relationships. This really shaped my academy into what it is today, because I believe that if you are looking to make the step to remote work, then you should feel fully confident to manage these client relationships independently. And to be honest, if you don't, then it probably isn't for you. In my community, I've witnessed 95% of my setters land offers in under 3 months. Many of these have come from my referral, and they have been able to build long-term remote careers from the first opportunities that they land, which is amazing. This actually brings me on to phase 5, which is how can you scale and build life on your own terms. So once you have the skills, you need to decide where you want to take this. My journey has been quite unique, where initially I was just investing in appointment setting to be able to control my income by a cheeky little side hustle. and within 6 weeks it turned into me quitting my 9 to 5 because I was actually exceeding my income that I was making as a marketing executive. And then within 3 months, I had booked my first one-way ticket to Bali, and I've really just been traveling ever since, basing myself on that side of the world until now, where I'm back in Europe, but it's given me the freedom to work for my cousins in France this week. And to be honest, it really is that simple. You just need to think about what's important for you, whether that's traveling, whether that's a side hustle, whether that's growing your income so that you can leave your 9 to 5. Then my journey continued to be unique, where I was at capacity with my clients, and I thought, I'm gonna try and help other girls have the same freedom that I can, even if it's just boosting their income. So I started offering training and facilitating those client relationships myself, and this is really where I found what I love to do, because I think it's one thing investing in the skill, but it's another thing having the confidence to take this full time and actually feel like you can do it, because it's so against the grain. Like, my parents didn't understand it, a lot of my friends didn't understand it to begin with, and having someone that you can reach out to, ask any questions, learn from all of the experiences, not only from my own but those of the girls in my community, it's something that I've loved pulling together, and I can't wait to see where I take it this year. Not only that, but a lot of the girls from my community have done incredible things. Take Rutina for example. She had been on client accounts offering appointment setting and soon figured out that she had the eye for content as well. This led her to launch her own social agency. Flora was one of the first setters to join my academy, and it wasn't long before she quit her 9 to 5. The freedom and flexibility of appointment setting meant she could look into other streams of income, and she's dabbled in an Airbnb, which is really interesting. And what's more, some of my setters are even training as remote closers, which means that they can offer an additional service to clients that they appointment set for. So if you're serious about escaping your 9 to 5 or want a remote side hustle that you can scale, appointment setting could be your fastest route. Hit like, subscribe, and drop a comment if you're curious or want to hear more about my journey and how my community can support you.